It's in my lip gloss. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Always Open. So glad you're here. I'm your host, Barbara Dunkelman. You know me by now, and I'm joined by some wonderful friends, including a brand new guest to the show.
Oh, there he is.
Oh,
Hi,
9
How are you
seasons.
doing? Let's talk. I need a book.
We could get you one. We have a
That'd be
couple.
great.
There are several.
There's some pepper back here for some reason. Just have that.
You never know what you might need pepper, Jack.
Set dressing. Yeah.
Pepper jack.
You gotta spice up your beer.
We got Jack Patillo on the show for the first time, ladies and
Hey,
gentlemen.
cheers.
Cheers.
I said no to that old crappy set. I wanted the new set before I came on.
There you go.
No doors.
Exactly. That was
doors.
in his request.
That's true.
Who are you?
Oh, it's me. It's Hannah. I'm not trying to steal your bit. I panicked. It was, I saw myself. I got nervous.
It's me, Hannah.
It's me, Hannah.
Hi, Hannah.
That's honestly what it is every time. It's actually more surprise than anything. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, it's me.
Oh.
Is
I
that what
woke
you're
up as
doing?
my full form today.
It's Mariel wearing the same shirt she is in the intro.
In the intro, just realized it. I need a new wardrobe, I guess.
No, you don't.
I'm back to
No.
recycling.
If it
know,
works, it works.
I have a capsule closet.
Do you
By
do,
that, I
do,
mean,
do you do the thing where you wash your clothes and then you start over again? Like maybe I don't know if it's a guy thing, but I wash my shirts and then clean shirts go on the left and I pull from the right.
So does that mean you wear the same things in the same sequence?
Kind of
Like-
close to it. I
like-
mean, I still kind of be like, okay, I'll take this today. But it's definitely, there's a rotation to it where it's like this, I'll probably not wear again for at least 3 weeks.
However many shirts you have.
Yeah, until it's like, all right, it's time to do wash.
see, no, I get into bad ruts where I wear like the same thing over and over again. So what I've started doing now to break that cycle is when I wear something and like if it's not super, because I also have a bad habit of like washing my clothes when they're not actually very dirty. So I'm trying to get out of that.
What do you mean by actually dirt? Like you've worn them for a few
like
minutes?
Yeah, wore them for like an hour or 2 or 3 hours.
Wait,
like,
what, huh? When do you only wear clothes for an hour or two?
you know, you get home, take your shirt off, put a shirt on, take that one off. I don't know.
She just tests out different clothes.
I just,
As you do, you know.
Yeah.
see
Obviously,
what
yeah.
feels good. Now I'm self-conscious. But no, I mean, usually if I wear a shirt and if I'm wearing it all day, I'll throw it in the dirty laundry. But that doesn't mean it's actually dirty, right? Unless I
See,
spill
I'm
something.
the opposite. I'll wear shit like.
Well, because you're a nasty bitch, Barbara.
So am I. I'm also guilty of that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, so I'm trying to do less.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do more of that, is like wash less, conserve water.
I find that I get like there's basically a point I reach in my wardrobe where I run out of clothes because I wait till I've literally worn everything I have. And then I know that it's gotten bad when I come to work and I get a lot of compliments on my outfits because I'm wearing the like nicest things that I own because I've run out of everyday clothes.
It's laundry day.
Yeah, it's laundry day when I'm dressed very nicely.
You've been killing it with the fashion.
Oh, says the literal most fashionable person who's here.
Well, that's because I'm
Wow.
wearing something
I'm
from
sorry.
the Rooster
I'm
Teeth
sorry.
store.
She does entire videos of like really cool stuff.
I got a lot of time on my hands. What are you gonna do?
I don't think that that's true.
That's true.
I feel like everyone here has stepped up their fashion game.
Yeah.
Jack, you too.
That's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
We literally complimented your outfit
Fashion.
when you sat down.
I will say I do enjoy winter stuff because I get super hot. And so like when it's colder, I'm like, oh, I can actually wear more than a t-shirt.
Yeah.
And so like even this is just a long sleeve, but it's got pockets nice,
Yeah.
you know.
Also
But
fits nicely.
like a waffle
yeah,
cut.
I'm like, okay. But yeah, I'm still pretty lazy about it. Yeah.
Guys can be.
Yeah.
True.
You know, I was just earlier today. I was looking at our holiday parties coming up, and I was trying to find something to wear, digging online, and I just thought it must be so easy for guys because they literally just get like a nice shirt, nice pants. That's it.
Get a jacket.
I
Get a
had that
jacket.
thought,
Boom.
too.
Throw it on top of anything.
You know how many green dresses I looked at today? At least 40.
Green?
Green dresses.
40?
40.
That's a lot.
That's because you're on Rent the Runway,
Well, yeah.
which is a genius app. If you want to sponsor the show, what's up? Reach out. Where you could rent formal attire for a special event and then send it back, and it's usually not very expensive.
And it's designer for
It's
a lot.
all- yeah.
A lot of times it's stuff that would be really expensive or
Yeah.
cost prohibitive
Exactly.
to buy for like one occasion. So you get this very expensive garment that you can wear and then just send it right back.
But part of the great thing about it and the most terrible thing about it is that there's so many fucking options.
Oh God, it's
Like you could be
endless.
on that website for hours
Oh, God.
looking at stuff.
Well, and then you could start getting into the customer reviews, because then you have other women who have like got that item and rented it, and then they're like, oh, like I have this body type, here's a picture, but I didn't like this, how this fit on me. So then you're like, what size do I need to get? And it sends you into a whole spiral. So that's where I'm at right now.
Meryl's doing great. That's why
So
she's
did
wearing
you find a
something
dress?
I want a jumpsuit. So I was
I'm
looking
wearing a
for
jumpsuit
like,
now.
yeah, I was looking for like black, green, or red jumpsuit, and I think I found some options.
very holiday themed.
Very
colors.
holiday themed.
It
like,
is an interesting theme, though. Like our theme for our holiday party this year
It's
is
like one of the worst movies ever. You're right.
Oh.
Nightmare Before Christmas is the theme.
the hot
a good movie.
takes are
fired.
coming out.
Not
Yeah.
a good movie.
Do you actually think that's a bad movie?
I do not like that movie at all.
I can't.
Everyone loses their mind for it. It's-
I
I'm
think
a
it's
sucker for
overhyped.
musicals, sucker for animation. I did
Yeah.
not like that.
I will say I think it's overhyped. I
Okay.
still think it's a pretty good movie though.
It definitely terrified me. I'm still very
the
afraid of a
animation
lot of
style's
the characters.
I mean,
in
no,
it.
it's so like Oogie Boogie's awesome. His whole scene is great, but it's like in general, it's like okay, this wasn't blown
Well,
away
that's
by
the
it, so.
theme.
Well, Jack,
So-
thank you so much for being
Hot
on the
take,
show.
Good,
I
good
have-
being on.
I have a bit of a
Love you,
confession.
commenters.
Bit of a confession to make.
Have you?
Never seen it. Never seen Nightmare Before
You know,
Christmas.
Well, Meryl, it was
Well,
great
Meryl was
having you on the
great.
show.
I'll be taking over.
Please. It was just never something I ever grew up watching. Never. When I saw it on TV, and it would, I'd just be like, eh.
Was it late
I'll watch
90s
something
when it
else.
came out?
I think so.
I think so.
Either yeah.
Or early 90s even. I don't know. Somebody tell us.
That's when
What
Tim
was it?
Burton was like the hotness, and everyone
yeah.
was like, but it's a lot of people think, oh, it's a Tim Burton movie. He produced it. He didn't direct it.
93?
Yeah.
Was it?
96, I
But
want to say.
yeah,
93,
but
geez.
I don't know. I'm just
I'm just
guessing.
completely
Shots in the dark here.
93? 93.
Wow,
Agree.
that's a lot earlier.
Wow.
Sorry, that was way
Yeah,
too
I
much
was a-
energy
I was
for
a
how
year
being
old.
correct.
When it
You-
came out.
Yeah.
So
Goddamn.
wouldn't have watched
young
it.
She likes to remind us how young she is.
Oh, please, you're not that much older.
I'm older than you though, so you rub it in.
Am I 10 years older than you, Mariel?
I'm 27.
I'm 37. Turning 38 in like a month and a half.
You look
Oh,
great,
same.
by the
I
way.
turned
Thank you.
38.
That is
Yeah.
so
I've aged into it. The gray is coming in
Yeah.
nicely. So
that is so weird to me because when I moved here, you were turning 30.
okay.
Oh wow.
So
You're super old, is what I'm. Is what I'm saying.
I'm 30 now.
I will say, for the first time, I mean, not for the first time, but definitely now more than ever, I felt like there's a generation gap. Like,
interesting.
like Fiona, love Fiona, she's awesome. I feel like she's from a different planet.
Yeah.
Like, interacting with her and what she's into and what she watches, I'm just like, I got nothing on you. Even like Michael and Gavin and those guys, they talk about Pokemon, like Jeremy will go on about Pokemon. That was after me.
They're kind of like a bridge between the
Yeah.
two.
But definitely, like now with Fiona, I'm like we joke around, it's like, oh, she's like my daughter. 100% that's what it feels like. It's like when we went to Disneyland together, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm taking the kids to Disneyland because it's like they're into stuff.
It
that I
was
have
her
no
and
idea.
Matt, right?
She's 22
Yeah.
or 23.
23,
I think she just
Oh my
turned
gosh.
23.
Yeah.
Well, even
But-
like, I feel like there's been times where I've talked to Fiona, or like, we're good friends too with Zoe and Kayla, who work in sales, and they're all like 23, 24. And sometimes they'll
Wait,
say
they're
shit
also
to me.
that young?
Yeah, sometimes they'll say
I
shit
try
to
not
me.
to think about it.
We're old, Barbara.
Yeah.
We're so
Yeah,
old.
Zoe in sales graduated college in 2018.
Oh,
That was a year and a half ago.
Exactly. And like, they'll talk to me about stuff, and I'm just like,
yeah.
So what's the newest TikTok you saw this
Yeah.
weekend?
it's crazy.
Fellow kids.
I know.
I also like music and
Yeah.
things.
Hip.
Yeah.
This episode of Always Open is brought to you by FrameBridge. FrameBridge makes it easy and affordable to frame your favorite things, from art prints and posters to all your best photos. With the holidays approaching, it's also the perfect way to give easy and thoughtful gifts. Here's how it works. Just go to framebridge.com and upload your photo, or they'll send you packaging to safely mail in your physical pieces. Preview your item online in any frame, style, or select one of their best-selling designs. The expert team at FrameBridge will custom frame your item and deliver your finished piece directly to your door, ready to hang. Instead of hundreds you'd pay at a framing store, their prices start at just $39, and all shipping is free. Plus, our listeners will get 15% off their first order at framebridge.com when you use the code OPEN. I talked about this last time they sponsored the show, but I had a piece that I got in Italy that I couldn't find any perfect frame for. So what they did, they sent me the packaging, I sent it in, and it came back perfectly framed and ready to hang up. And I love it. There's no better way to get a custom frame for anything than this service right here. And it's lovely. Become a gift-giving legend by using Framebridge to give high-quality, one-of-a-kind gifts that you could order in minutes. Go to framebridge.com and use the promo code OPEN, and you'll save an additional 15% off your first order. That's framebridge.com and the promo code OPEN. Framebridge.com, promo code OPEN. Go get some awesome photos or artwork framed. Thank you so much, Framebridge. I know it's weird though, because I guess it's like me, Michael, Gavin, that whole generation that came into Rooster Teeth at that point in time. I feel like we're more similar to like you guys and your generation versus like, you know,
Newbies.
Fiona and like even Christina's younger too. I think she's 24, 25.
Christina's 24, I think, yeah.
Which isn't even that much younger than us, but it feels like an entire generation.
I do love that we all did like the 10-year challenge, and it's like, oh, it's like, you know, me now at 27, then me as like a 17-year-old, and like, you know, you see Barbara and, like, as a 20-year-old, and all of us are like, you know, like young adults, and then you see Christina's, and she's like 12.
She's 12.
She's a literal child.
Well, yeah, I saw that the 10-year challenge thing. The scary thing is, as of this Saturday, I've been at Rooster Teeth for 10 years full time.
Oh, wow.
So like that, to think that like, oh, that whole decade, I've literally been here at this company.
Dude,
You
like,
started at
that.
27.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Cheers.
That's a wonderful accomplishment. Also, what better way to celebrate than doing this show?
Yeah,
Cheers.
exactly. This is actually what we brought you
So.
on. But Jack, you're here.
I'm here.
You are
9
here.
seasons.
Only took 9 seasons. We also, we have you on as one of our stretch goals for Extra Life.
That's right. Yeah, that was. You like Marilyn asked me like, hey, would you be willing to do the show if we had a stretch goal? I'm like, yeah, sure. And then I ended up having to leave during your segment. I came back and I was like, oh, you guys crushed everything. So I guess I'm doing the show. So.
Yeah, we were like, we did it, Jack.
yeah.
Jack.
I think Katie was actually getting a tattoo, so I was with her
Oh my God.
while she was doing it.
Right.
So yeah.
That was that's a cool day.
Oh,
lot of fun,
man.
man.
Very
Oh,
cool
man.
day.
Fun fact.
Fun
So
fact.
we did the Always Open segment, and I got a little toasty, and then immediately went and signed up for a tattoo.
Oh, nice.
But you didn't get one.
No, because I came back when I was sober, and I was like, why did I do that? My girlfriend was with me, and I was just like, do you want to get tattoos? And she was like, yeah. I mean, she has tons of tattoos, so she's like, yeah, I don't care. Like, I'll get another tattoo, especially if it's free. We'll just tip them really well.
Yeah.
And like, we finished the segment, and I was like, let's go sign up. So we signed up, and then she took me to Shake Shack to go eat, and then I took a nap and came back, and then she's like, oh, look, our names are like closer up to the top, like we're almost there. And I was like, take me off of that immediately. Like, what was I thinking? Like, what was I thinking? Not that, I mean, I have tattoos. It's not that. I was just like, that was very much a very drunk Mariel being
Impulsive.
like, give me a tattoo right now.
I was very concerned for that whole situation because those tattoo artists were here literally the entire
my
24
gosh,
hours.
yeah.
Oh, yeah,
They were
kicked
tattooing,
ass.
I think, for 25 hours. Because even, so it's Kappa Tattoo, which shout out to those guys.
Yeah.
They're awesome.
They're so nice, too.
They showed up the day before. I didn't know. I thought they were coming the day of. They showed up the day before to set up, which was awesome. They got here at 8 a.m. and started tattooing, and they went until about 9 a.m. the next morning. Because the last tattoo that he did, Josh, as one of the artists, he tattooed himself.
Oh, wow.
Because they were streaming on their channel during the stream, and he hit his own personal goals on Twitch, where if he got like 10,000 followers and then like 100 subs, he would get tattoos, and he hit both of those during Extra Life. And so he's like, yeah, so he tattooed himself to finish the stream. And that was his last tattoos he gave.
So,
man.
how do we get connected with these guys?
I had been wanting to do a tattoo thing during Extra Life for a while. And last year, 2 weeks before Extra Life happened, I was at TwitchCon in San Jose, and I was like, I'm looking for this tattoo thing. I walked into like the exhibitor hall, and like the first booth I hit was them. And I was like,
Wow.
there's like literally like streaming tattoos. And I'm like, this is perfect. Like, this is exactly what I needed.
Did they give you a new block?
No, not. So I got this block last year, the blue block last year. I got one on my arm. I don't know if I can get to it here, but it's
With this nice
too
shirt.
tight, but
Yeah.
I know.
but yeah, and so like it was funny because he was like tattooing a guy, and the guy looked up. He's like, "Oh, Jack, I'm a big fan." He was like tattooing the back of this guy's leg, which immediately lended like credibility to who I was. I'm like, okay, that's good. And so
Yeah.
he's like, "Yeah, let's talk." And then like within a week, they're like, "Yeah," and I flew him down from Minnesota, is where they're from.
Yep.
Amazing.
And so this year they drove down, so they brought all their stuff with them.
They drove
Wow.
from Minnesota?
Yeah, they had a van and they drove down.
Man, shout out to those guys.
Yeah.
Actual
They're
angels.
very, very
Yeah.
awesome.
If you're in Minnesota, go check out Kappa Tattoo.
Kappa Tattoo.
Kappa.
Yep.
Kappa.
And so they're on
Kappa.
Twitch, twitch.tv/Kappa Tattoo.
Kappa.
So and the artist, like Josh, is amazing. His work is beautiful.
Yeah.
I know. I kind of regret not getting something.
Well,
So they'll be back next year, and they might come to RTX too. So
Ooh.
yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, I saw when I was looking at his flash, and he had a sword, and I was like, I'm gonna get the sword. I'm gonna get it right here by my rosemary, and I'm gonna do it. And I came back, and I was like, Yeah, I don't need to do
If you don't get a sword tattoo, all is lost.
Probably, I want to get. I thought about because I have like my rosemary here just because I love to cook and I love to cook with rosemary, and I've joked about getting like a head of garlic here and then like a steak here.
You just covered in
Yeah, and just like a
Ingredients
potato
and-
here,
yeah.
just like all my favorite things to
Do you have
eat.
tattoos, Hannah?
I do not. I am very afraid of that.
Are you
you
afraid of
want-
tattoos or needles?
Of needles.
Okay.
Tattoos, not so much afraid as I know that I am a very, well, I know that I'm the kind of person that if I got one tattoo, I would have a full sleeve. Like I would go
Really?
from 0 to 100, no question.
Do you have any tattoos?
Yeah.
I have the one Jeff gave me on my arm.
Okay.
I know,
but
I like that
I
tattoo.
want to get some more stuff.
See, that's the thing. It's
Yeah.
like you break the skin, and then it's like, all right, I'm tainted now, so whatever.
Yeah.
Let's get it
I also
done.
technically, I guess they're not permanent tattoos, but I have my eyebrows tattoos on.
Ah.
Tattooed on. Microblading.
Microblading.
Texas
There you
did
go.
them.
Of course he
Nice.
did. Yeah.
It's great not having to fill in your eyebrows when you wake up. You know?
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
I know when I wake
Jack
up, I'm like,
gets
oh God, got 20 minutes. Shower eyebrows.
My problem with tattoos, though, is that I am very indecisive. And like I'll think like, oh, I want this, I like this, I would love it in this spot, and I'm like, but would it look better in that spot?
Yeah.
But like, if I wear this, will it look good over there? What if I get this? And like, literally, that goes through my head every time I think about
Well,
getting a
my
neck
first tattoo, I didn't get till I was like 32.
Yeah, it
And it was
was
because, and then I've
well
been
into
thinking
it.
about it for like 5 years. I was
Yeah.
like, it'd be kind of cool because I had the Tetris blocks on the arm there, and the idea was like every major life event get a new block.
Which
and
one?
So,
I want to know which one's which.
all right, yeah. So we can run through it. I don't even see the. There's the angle. There you go. So it's
coming in
so
close.
the green S right here. Here we go. We're getting a close-up shot. The green S right there. That was the first one I got. That was in the Gold Coast in Australia. That was Katie and I officially being together.
Oh.
And so that was my first one. And then the T block there was Las Vegas, and that was Katie and I getting married.
Oh.
And
All
then,
of them are just gonna be.
Aaron's gonna cry.
And then I think after that I got the orange one here. I got that in Taiwan. That was for my nephew Blaze.
Oh,
Then I got, what was after? I think after that was my square block, which I got in England. That was for my cat Uday, who passed away. And so this was like basically like the week after he passed away.
And it's kind of his colors,
Yeah,
right?
it's literally his color. It's crazy story behind that. The artist literally like I showed him a photo. I'm like, this is for my cat. And he goes, I got this color today, and it was like perfect.
Wow.
And then I got this one in New Zealand. That's for my nephew Silas. So these are my two nephews, the L blocks. And then this is my cat Kusei, who passed away. That was Uday's sister, and so she was horribly unphotogenic. So I love this version of it. So it's really not photogenic as well. And so that's her. Same artist did
I
both
love
the
it.
cats.
I
So
love
that's also
that.
London. And then this one I got last year during Extra Life. This is for raising $1 million for Extra
Amazing.
Life.
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
That's
that's
awesome.
incredible.
Very
those,
cool.
those are my block pieces. They're all different, and they're all
Yeah.
different artists,
They have
except for
such-
the two squares.
Such meaning too.
Yeah.
It's so nice.
Yeah.
You kind of look down and you get your life.
Well, they're
laid
also
out.
they're not offensive either. It's like you see some tattoos where it's like naked lady, and it's like, oh, okay, that's weird. But it's like this is Tetris. Everyone knows.
It also like I love tattoos like that are so simple but have such a heavy meaning with
Yeah.
them that like once you explain it, it's so cool. But it's also just
Yeah.
looks like a cool tattoo.
And so, and the idea was eventually get the line piece when Katie and I had a kid, but now it's like, I don't know about that. So,
You have one, Fiona.
Yeah.
there you go. That's true. I do have a child.
When you officially adopt Fiona,
23-year-old child.
get your
It's
line.
great because you don't really have to be responsible for her anymore.
That's true. That's
You
true.
can have all the fun parts of being a
Until
parent.
she calls me from jail and was like,
God.
Jack,
Dad.
bail money. So, anyway,
Who would Fiona call if she was in jail?
I don't know. Fiona.
Who would you
call?
Pull you.
Who would you call if you were in jail? Trevor?
Trevor, probably. I mean, if it wasn't Trevor,
Before your parents?
well, they can't do anything.
My parents are both lawyers, so
Yeah.
I'd call my parents.
Yeah, I'd call your parents.
Yeah,
Both of my parents are lawyers, so
I would probably want to call Trevor to let him know where I was.
Okay.
what happened,
That's fair.
Just so he wouldn't worry. But
Trevor would just show up and be like, "Let her out!"
I feel like my dad has all the answers to everything all
Yeah.
the time, so I'd probably
Yeah.
call him.
Yeah.
Or Bernie. Because I feel Bernie's like a pseudo dad for me.
Well,
Yeah.
as someone who has called someone from jail, I called my parents first.
Oh, what?
Well, you were in
Wait a
Okay,
minute.
throw that
Hold
menu
on.
away.
Yeah, I've told the story in the podcast before.
Not this podcast.
Not this one, but no. So my sister got married, 10 years ago, I guess.
I'm so excited for where this is going.
And so I was like, I'm gonna get hammered. I was like, in the wedding party, and it was like, unlimited drinks. Like, all right, and then gave my buddy my keys because I was being responsible.
Good.
Gave him the keys, and I'm like, I'm getting smashed. And so proceeded to get annihilated. And then
Open bar, I imagine.
Oh yeah. And so then afterwards, him and I we went out like to a pool hall, a bunch of other places. We were just driving around getting goofy. And he was sober, though. And then we got back to my brother-in-law's house, my new brother-in-law's house, because it was like, that's where we all got ready. That's where all our stuff was. And it was like, let's go there. Got there. We have no way to get in. And it's like, shit. Okay. So I'm like, all right, well, I'm not driving. He's like, I'm done for the night. I'm like, all right, well, I guess we'll just sleep here. So we just slept in my car.
Okay.
And so I woke up the next morning. And he was gone, and the keys were in the driver's seat. And I was like, all right. So I got out, I stretched, still wearing all my stuff from the wedding, still tuxedo and everything. Stretched, got in the car, turned it on. It was in Round Rock. And so I drove a blue Mustang at the time, very, very easy to spot car. And so I pulled out, and I was like, I was just really tired, and I was hungry. I'm like, I can go left and go home, or go right, go to Round Rock Donuts, which, like, I need some breakfast.
Oh, yeah.
So I turned right, 8 a.m. Sunday morning.
Amazing donuts, by the way.
Great donuts. And then heading down towards Round Rock Donuts, a cop's passing the other way. He spins around and gets behind me, and I'm like, okay, that's weird. And so he starts following me. I'm following the law. I pull over, or I pull into Round Rock Donuts, clicks on his lights, pulls me over, and he walks up to the car and he goes, "Sir, I have reason to believe you may be intoxicated right now."
What?
And I was like,
What the fuck?
okay. And so and so he pulls me out of the car. And they give me a field, and then now there's 3 cop cars behind me, and Round Rock Donuts is full of people.
Must be a
So it's
real
all
slow
watching.
day in Round Rock.
Yeah.
Man.
And so they gave me a field sobriety test, and he said I failed it. And so he threw cuffs on me. They towed my car, and I was like, oh shit, okay. And so they took me to like a holding cell in Round Rock, and they gave me a breathalyzer there. Legal limit in Texas is 0.08 as the BAC. I blew a 0.047, which is little more than half the legal limit.
Yeah.
And so the cop like made me do it twice, and then he looked at me and he's like, well, and I'm like, well, does that mean I'm good to go? And he's like, no. And I was like, oh, okay. And so because they said I failed the field sobriety test, which is totally subjective, because apparently the pen test, here's a trick for you. The pen test, what they do is they move it beyond your field of vision. They'll move it in your eye. And so my eye tried to flicker to catch real far over. That little flicker meant I was drunk. And so, anyway, so they took me then up to Pflugerville.
I was like,
Oh yeah.
I just saw Meryl go,
So they took me to Pflugerville, threw me in jail. I got photos and everything taken,
Whoa.
and then. I
wait,
remember
did you have mugshots in your tuxedo?
no, it was the white shirt.
Oh,
I don't have the
God, that
jacket
would have been
anymore.
so good.
Those dapper
But the
mugshots.
thing is, I don't have the mugshots. I never got them. And so, anyway, so I ended up going there. It was Sunday, like maybe 11 a.m. at this point when I finally made it to the holding area or the jail. And they're like, yeah, well, it's Saturday. Last night was pretty busy, so you have to speak to the judge to post your bond. He's full for today, so you'll do it tomorrow. And so I had to stay overnight in jail. And at that point, I had to call my parents and be like, hey, Mom and Dad, so funny story.
Oh my gosh.
And I did everything right. I didn't drive when I was drunk. I gave my keys to my buddy. I waited until I slept it off. I was still rough, but I was legal.
Right.
But there's no way to explain that to parents and be like, oh no, it's the day after your daughter's wedding, and your son's in jail. And so anyway, so ultimately, like I stayed the night overnight. A guy tried to kill himself, which was fun. That guy was literally like making strips out of his shirt to like make a noose to hang himself.
Oh
and
my
so I like
gosh.
banged on the door, and they run in there, stripped him naked,
My
threw him in
God.
the bathroom. It was a rough night.
That's an understatement.
Yeah. But ultimately I got out. I posted bond. My dad picked me up, and then since I wasn't legally above the limit, they didn't take my license. So I literally went from jail to the impound to get my car, and then drove it home. And then I drove home, took a shower, because I hadn't showered in like 2 days at that point.
Oh my
And I was just covered in alcohol because of I was drinking.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then I ended up going to work, and my dad apparently my dad didn't know this, but my dad had called my boss and said, hey, Jack was a little sick this morning, so he'll be in late. So I roll into work. I'm like, what's up, guys? Just got out of jail. And they're like, what? And I was like, oh no, I was in jail. They were like, oh,
That's not what we heard.
we thought you were sick. And I was
I'm
like,
a different man
I
now.
was like, I did nothing wrong. I did everything I was supposed to correctly. And so, except I still went to jail. But anyway, ultimately, I got a letter saying that they had declined to prosecute my case, which means like they're not going to take me to court. But until the statute of limitations was up, they could at any point have pulled me into a court. That passed. But I only recently found out it's still on my record because
I was going to ask,
I went to go get global entry for my since we travel so much, and the person that interviewed me pulled it up. He's like, it says you have a DWI arrest here, and I was like, I didn't know that was still on my record.
Oh my God, I didn't even think it.
So you didn't get charged. You didn't even have to pay any fines or anything.
No, nothing at all.
What?
But now to get it expunged off my record is going to be about $3,000. Now that's a decade after the fact, after it
Oh
happened.
my God.
So,
And so you
anyway.
can't get global entry.
not until that's gone. Like you have to have a clean
What?
record to get it.
Wow.
And so,
Fuck, dude.
yeah, so that sucks.
I think the
So-
worst part of this story.
Did you get any donuts?
Right.
No, I
Yeah.
didn't even
Get
get
any
donuts.
But
Let's fly the donuts in, guys.
Everybody, Round Rock, can we get
I've met your father.
Yeah.
And he is quite possibly the sweetest looking man I've ever seen in my life.
And the sweetest man.
And the sweetest man. I can't imagine disappointing him.
Oh, yeah. That was, I mean, literally is like, yeah, I mean, because I didn't do anything wrong. I did
Yeah,
everything I was
right.
supposed to do. But you can't be like, oh, hey, Dad,
Yeah.
calling you from jail. No, I'm totally in the right, though.
It's
like,
the good kind of being in
Yeah.
jail.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
so,
not, doesn't.
anyway.
It wasn't my fault.
So what was it that made them pull you over?
So what had happened was, since I was sleeping in my car, someone in that neighborhood saw me, and they called the cops. And so that cop who pulled me over was on his way to basically knock on my window and see what was going on. And in that amount of time, I got up and drove away.
Isn't it also illegal if you've been drinking to sleep in
the driver's seat.
front seat of the? Yeah.
I think it's the driver's seat.
I think it's like if you have the accessibility to drive a car
Yeah.
while intoxicated, even if
Yeah.
it's like turned off and parked,
Yep.
you
So
still.
I've been told if you're ever gonna do that, you should put your keys like on top of your wheel outside of the car and then get in. Like so the keys.
So you're
aren't
like, I couldn't
inside the
even
vehicle.
access it.
Exactly.
so someone could just show up.
Steal your car?
Like, you're just,
You like wake
pass
up
out
and you're like in
passenger seat.
Minnesota. What? We're going to Kappa Tattoos.
Oh
Yeah, it was
gosh.
fun.
Oh man.
Well, today
anyway.
I learned.
Wow.
There you go.
Yeah, I did not
So-
know any
And
of
of all
this.
my friends, all my asshole friends that have done so much shadier stuff than I ever have, I'm the only one who's ever gone to jail.
Man.
So,
Wow.
yeah.
Isn't that always
Just
the
a
way?
Clean cut, straight A student, and all throughout high school.
Look at you.
Yep.
Well, Jack,
All for some Round Rock donuts.
Hannah's had a few stints in jail.
I'm a hardened criminal.
she has one of those
I know it's.
ankle.
I got it.
Yeah,
Yep.
she's-
It's
It's real thin.
under this
Keeps it-
sock.
It's actually me. I just put it on her. I know where she's at.
It's
at
just
all
a
times.
tracking device that Mariel
It's
put
a
on
kink.
me.
It's a kink she has. She likes to know where you are at
Yeah.
all times. This episode of Always Open is also brought to you by Your Super. We all know how important it is to eat healthy, but the reality is that 9 out of 10 people don't eat enough fruits or veggies. When you don't get the proper nutrition, you increase your risk of chronic illness such as type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and even cancer. I got a package from Your Super, and I've been eating everything from it. One of my favorite things is the pea protein. It's easy to add to any drink or even make a dip out of it. You can make a really good guacamole dip with it. And it's a really easy way to get more protein and veggies in your diet very quickly. It's one of my favorite products. They also have different mixes, including a chocolate flavored one, which is, of course, one of my favorites. Your Super is on a mission to improve people's health with the power of super plants. They make it easy for you to get the nutrients your body needs to thrive. Your Super's functional superfood and plant protein mixes are made from naturally dried, organic whole foods and superfoods, and nothing else. And Your Super's 100% transparent supply chain, you know you're getting the cleanest superfood mixes on the market. I love that Your Super has so many free recipes and other resources on their site as well. Tons of creative and easy ways to add superfood mixes to your daily meals that you already make. Get the cleanest superfood and plant protein mixes at yoursuper.com. That's YOURSUPER.com. Get 15% off your order when you use the code OPEN at checkout. Just go to yoursuper.com and don't forget to get 15% off with the promo code OPEN at checkout. Thank you, Your Super. You're super.
You know.
Well, let's learn more about you, Jack.
All right.
We're going to play some speed dating.
Okay.
So what we have here is just a list of questions. You could answer them as fast or as slow as you want.
I thought you were gonna give me like rocks, and I had to figure out how old they were. Cretaceous.
20,000.
All right.
All right,
Hit
we
me
ready
with
with
some
our
questions.
timer? Yes, all right.
Like just a thumbs up. Yeah, sure, why
that
not?
seems good enough.
Okay.
And go. If you could take only one of the following on a road trip, which would it be? A map, camera, companion, or journal?
Map.
Do you find yourself wanting to chuck it all and go live on a sailboat?
No.
When you are cooking, do you closely follow recipes or do you operate more on intuition?
Follow them to a T.
Hell yeah.
Do you fold your underwear?
Yes.
How often do you speak to your parents?
Weekly?
Do you own a library card?
No.
Interesting.
You fold your underwear.
Only because Katie started folding my underwear.
As
I
you
felt guilty
should.
not doing it.
As you should fold your underwear. What do? You probably just throw it in there.
Shove
dirty.
it in a drawer.
It's probably just dirty and stinky.
Okay. All right. That's
She's such a nasty
No,
bitch.
Katie did it one time. Katie folded my underwear one time, and also because we have underwear and socks are like one wash.
Yeah.
And so she folded my underwear and also put my socks in like order, or like the left side was my ankle socks, right side was the longer socks.
Oh,
and I was like, well, shit, I have to do that from now on. And so,
Man, I gotta get me a wife.
You really do.
pretty awesome. So,
Do you guys, because we all live with our partners, do you share drawers, or is it like you have, this is my drawer? And
split. I got the left half, she has the right half and the top.
I have my own dresser.
See, that's the worst thing
Yeah,
about being
my
a
own.
woman who dates women, because everything just gets mixed in.
Share. Yeah, we have our separate
Yeah.
areas. Like Trevor's nice enough to understand that I have a lot of clothes.
Right.
And so we have like our closet where we've managed to split that up pretty evenly. And then we have our dresser, and I have 4 out of 6 of the drawers. And he has 2 of them.
Yeah.
I mean,
I need these.
that checks out. That's
Yeah.
I got a lot of pants,
Yeah.
bras, pantyhose.
Yeah.
There's a lot of women clothes.
a lot of accoutrement.
Exactly.
Just extras.
That is true. Like when we travel, it's like I'll have my little mini suitcase, and then Katie has the giant one and needs some in mine as well. It's like, oh, do you still have room? I'm like, because we're gone for 2 nights. Yes, I have plenty of room.
Listen, I need my makeup.
Gotta have
hair products.
options.
Yeah.
Options.
Exactly.
Yep.
All right, Miss Hannah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I'm scared.
Okay. And go. How long does it usually take for you to decide whether or not you like a new acquaintance?
Not long.
If you could erase any pain from your past and substitute those moments with happiness, would you?
No.
If you had to name as many famous scientists as you remember and as many famous writers as you can remember, which list would be longer?
Writers.
Do you play any musical instruments?
I played the sax when I was little.
Do you participate in any Oscar pools?
No, that stresses me out. Oscar
Yeah.
pools, like betting on who's gonna win the Oscar?
Yeah.
No, that stresses me out.
I used to, you know Aaron and Kayla.
Oh yeah.
They're friends of ours who every year they have like an Oscar party and they have those papers that have like voting on different winners and stuff like that.
I
And
hate being wrong.
You know, like 4 categories, and that's it. And then
Yeah.
it's like best foreign short film.
Yeah.
This one's about the Holocaust. There you go.
and usually those are the ones I get right.
Yeah, they usually win.
The ones I know nothing about.
Yeah.
So you could judge whether or not you like someone very quickly.
Yeah, I feel like I get a pretty good read on people. Like I feel like I have a sense fairly quickly. At the very least, if I'm going to get along with someone, I may not like know everything about them, but I can generally get a good read on somebody, and if we're gonna like get along pretty well.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's just the older you get, all of us old people, you just get used to like. I think you just know also what you connect with better the older you get.
Absolutely.
So now when I meet people, I'm like, well, I know my personal like personality tics and weirdnesses, and I know kind of like when I see someone who's either similar and I know we'll connect, or if they have sort of traits that I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be.
Yeah, I feel like when you're
I'm gonna annoy you. Like that's a lot of the time what I think. You
Your
know?
bullshit meter is like,
Yeah, I think
you
you're.
have a good
Absolutely.
read.
Yeah.
Yeah, the older you get, the more like I don't have time to deal with this.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna bother trying to be your friend.
What are
I'm out.
personality traits that like instantly set you off, where you're just like, nah, this is not gonna work with this person?
The easiest barometer is rude to waiters.
That's yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh God, if you're rude to waiters,
Yeah.
you're done.
Same with animals. Like if you're
Impatient.
mean or just like something to animals or service staff, it's like that's if that's a personality trait, you got problems. But it's certainly a behavioral thing where you're like, I don't think we'll work together. But
what if I make my chunky cat do the truffle shuffle?
Then she'll like you even more.
the cat will probably not like it. Cassie
Apparently,
probably won't
it's
like
body shaming.
I'm always excited when I have a friend or an acquaintance that I like so much that I'm excited to introduce them
Yeah.
to people.
Oh, yeah.
Like my friend Troy.
it. Yes,
Oh, yeah.
yes.
Who's been on the show before, Troy Baker.
Yes,
He's
he's a good
gonna
guy.
be joining us again this season. But
Awesome.
I remember when he came in town, I'm just like, I'm excited for Hannah to meet him
Oh.
because she's gonna love him.
I loved him. And we've talked about this, and it's obvious to anyone who's seen him in anything or listened to him. Like he is one of those people that I'm sure it's universal. Like when you meet Troy, he has this energy about him that is like pure charisma. Like unlike a lot of people, like anyone I've really met, where he is just immediately makes you feel like you are being completely listened to and heard and understood. And you're like, I just met you 10 seconds ago.
You are staring into my soul.
How have you pierced the big, deepest recesses of my mind? Like I just met you.
What's his sign? I want to get his birth chart.
He's. I know his birthday is April 1st.
I don't know what that means. I'm not really that into astrology.
Jack, what's April 1st?
That's
The astrology.
not Capricorn.
Are you into astrology?
No.
Oh, I was like, hold on. Am I figuring something out?
Is it Taurus maybe? Or Aquarius?
I'm Aquarius. I'm January.
Yeah, it's
Is that
Aquarius.
okay? So it's Capricorn. I'm Capricorn January. So you're Aquarius
yeah.
January.
I'm the
it
end
Aquarius?
of January, yeah.
Taurus. He's
Taurus.
Taurus. Okay.
Taurus.
I think Tauruses are known for like being a little stubborn, a little like
Like bullheaded,
bullheaded.
right?
But it's all what I've
practical
learned
cars, too.
from dating someone who's very into astrology is that it's not just your sun sign.
Yes.
You need to know all of
You're like moon sign.
your moon
She-
sign,
yeah.
your rising. Yeah,
read my chart.
She read you to filth the other
She
day.
did.
I want
was
her to
like,
read me.
I didn't know any
She'll
of
read
this.
you.
I want to know more about
She'll read you.
me. Although, like, those things are so interesting to me because if you read any of them, you could somehow connect it to what you're
Yeah.
going through, right?
Yeah, you can connect it, or you can be like, oh, it's nothing. But
To an
the whole thing about like birth charts is not just looking at like the day you were born, but it takes in time, like the time you were born and like the place you were born, and it sees where all of like the planets and
Yeah, it's
shit
not
were lined
just,
up.
it's like a bunch of different things.
Yeah, and
from
you
what
can-
she was saying.
What's that?
Aries.
Aries.
is April 1st.
I think
We take
Aries-
back everything we
Yeah.
said about him being a
Sorry,
Taurus.
Charlie.
I will say Penn and Teller did an awesome episode of Bullshit where they talked about like the signs and everything.
Oh.
And they went to like a high school and they gave everyone like they went through and personal. They got everyone their horoscope. And so it was like, here, read your horoscope. Like, okay, raise your hand if you think your horoscope nailed you. Everyone in the class raised their hand. They go, okay, great. Everyone pass your horoscope to the person to your right. They rotated, all had the exact same one.
Yeah.
Literally exact same one.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say, like, they gave them, like, if we have two horoscopes, they traded them.
No,
So
no.
it's just like, oh, if you
It
think
was
it's
all
really
the same
for you,
thing.
Everyone was reading the exact same one. They're like, this is me to a T. And it's like,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
you will experience a momentous
Occasion.
thing in your life.
I think it's like anything.
things will
that's-
happen,
Yeah.
good and bad.
Yeah.
Maybe both. at the
Well, I think
same
it's
time.
anything that's anything that's kind of spiritual or like above you. You take what you want from it to make you feel a little bit better and secure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You read into it. There's never a negative horoscope.
Yeah. No.
It's always positive.
Sometimes
Unless you get co-star. Co-star will read you to filth.
It's like, you will die tomorrow. Get ready for it. It's coming.
All right, Miss Merrill.
All right.
And go. When in a relationship, what importance do you place upon celebrating weekly or monthly anniversaries?
1 out of 10, 5.
Can you separate an artist/entertainer's bad behavior from their art?
No.
How do you feel about Michael Jackson?
Did you just add that? Or is
Nope, that
on
was
there?
in there.
I've seen the documentary. I believe those kids.
Are you scared of the future?
No.
Oh.
Not anymore.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's nice.
What changed?
She got a fat cat.
I got a fat cat.
She got a fat cat. That changed everything.
A fat cat will really change. It's like
I know the
Buddha.
power
You
of
just
cats.
go and rub in her rubber belly. I don't know. I think for once, like in a while, like my personal life feels very, very stable, and my professional life feels very stable. And I'm like medicated. I'm like going in and out of
You got
therapy.
therapy, yeah.
Like shit's good, you know.
Yeah.
So
It's what you deserve. That's what you deserve.
thank you.
That's a beautiful sentiment.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from. Like, I feel like also the more settled and happy you are in your life, the less fearful you are of the future in general.
Yeah.
And not to say that people who don't feel that way shouldn't or should be fearful of the future.
Yeah.
I'm not explaining this right. I'm gonna take a sip of my beer.
Well, I'm like, I feel like the past years of like my adult life, especially like we're nearing the end of a year, I'm always just like, oh man, I hope next year's better. Like this year sucked. And this year like was kind of tumultuous for me. And I think like professional and personal life, like there was a lot of changes and stuff, but like I'm very much looking forward in like a, not a, God, I can't wait for this year to be over, but more in just like, I'm ready to like embrace what comes next.
Cautious optimism.
Cautious
It's a
optimism.
good way to live.
I like that.
Yeah.
There we go. You're so far now.
I know. I can't
have to
just like
get up.
slide it across the table.
Whew, things are falling. Okay, Bimmy Dunks, are you ready?
Lay it on me.
Do you think it's human nature to flirt even when you're with someone?
Yes.
Choose a romantic 3-day weekend with your significant other. A fancy hotel, road trip to visit friends, camping trip, or stay at home.
Fancy hotel.
Ooh. Do you think that smarter people are usually capable of deeper love?
No.
On average, what best describes how often you get wicked drunk?
Oh, like once a year, maybe.
The last one. Do you make impulse purchases a lot, like gadgets you don't need or clothes that are too expensive?
Hundo percento.
Oh man.
I wouldn't say like clothes that are too expensive, it's just too many clothes.
Too many things.
I'm just like, I don't need this shirt with a picture of a bunny on it, but I want it, and I'm
But
gonna
the
wear
great
it
thing
once.
about you getting that shirt with a picture of a bunny on it is about 6 months later.
We get
the shirt with a picture of the bunny on it.
picture of a bunny on it.
So you don't know this, Jack, but so well, I buy like cheap stuff usually because
Okay.
I like clothes and I like making outfits and stuff. But I also like giving my stuff away either to my friends or Goodwill. And before I bring it to Goodwill, I always bring it to Rooster Teeth so people could look through all my stuff. And like all the girls in the office are just like, it's Barb Goodwill Day.
It's the best day.
Did they give you tax receipts when they take it from you?
You should. I didn't even
It's a
think
charitable
about that.
donation
You're
to
right.
us.
Oops. But yeah, it's always a great day when Barb's like, I brought a bag full of clothes.
Guess what?
Do you
Got
have
another
one?
bag coming.
Coming up.
Hell yeah.
Jack,
Happy
you want
holidays.
anything?
Oh, there we go. It's like Santa
Christmas.
Claus showing up.
We did make a couple of the guys try on clothes from there, like Cameron and Noel.
Oh, really?
Noel looked very good in some of
He
the sweaters.
would look good in anything.
He would.
He's a good-looking guy.
He's a
He is.
very good looking man. Very sweet.
Very stylish too.
Very stylish.
I like it.
Yeah.
An angel.
This episode of Always Open is also brought to you by Lovebook. Lovebook helps customers express the sentiments that may be difficult to say out loud. Users can create characters that look just like themselves and the recipient, down to the outfits and accessories as well. While Lovebook customers have the option to personalize each page as much as they like, they also have an express option that creates a complete book with just a few clicks. Lovebooks are the perfect gift for all occasions, or just because. My parents' anniversary is coming up, and I've been thinking about making a love book for them that has all the major moments in their relationship, and I know they'd probably cry if I gave it to them, and it would be lovely, and that's really what I want out of all my gifts that I give to my parents. Get Love Book for a friend, partner, or parent. It really is the perfect gift to show how much you care. It's perfect for the holidays as well. Use Love Book to make your love story come to life. So just visit lovebookonline.com/always to get a special 20% discount for our listeners. That's you guys. That's lovebookonline.com/always for 20% off. Enjoy and love your book. Love Book. Let's do some box of issues questions.
Let's do it.
We're ready.
We got some issues that I think will be really good for you guys to answer.
We will try
As
our
opposed
best.
to the ones that won't be good for us
As
to answer.
opposed to
Not qualified.
Horrible ones to answer.
All right, this one comes from Allie D, or ALY. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Allie D.
Sacha Baron Cohen, big fan.
Allie writes, my question is this. My boyfriend and I have been together for 6 months, but haven't said I love you yet. However, the last couple of months, we've been doing long distance since we both work on a ranch in Montana, and he's full-time, and I'm a seasonal intern. I'm home for the winter, but I'm going to see him in January. Should I tell him I love him over the phone or wait until I see him in person? Any advice would be great. You guys, well, you did a long distance
Yeah.
relationship for a very long time.
Yeah.
And a very
Yeah.
long distance.
Yeah, about as far as you can go. I
Almost,
don't recommend
right?
it.
Yeah.
It's
How
tough,
long
man.
were you guys long distance?
God, about 8 months or so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's less
Yeah.
than a year.
Still, that's a
Well,
long time.
Katie
a long
and I,
time,
I mean,
yeah.
so those of you who don't know, Katie, she was in Sydney, Australia, and I was here in Austin. And and so we had been friends for a long time, and then, it was kind of like I had a shitty relationship, she had a shitty relationship, so we kind of like befriended each other because of that. And then ultimately ended up where we both kind of single at the same time. I was like, oh, when we started like talking, I was like, oh, it got a little heavier. And it's like, oh, okay, I think I like you. And then I went over there, and then, I was like, okay, then I got a tattoo. And so there was like a back and forth, and finally she came to the States, and I was like, I can't let you leave anymore. Like, you need to stay. I love you. Or like, let's get married. It wasn't like that. It wasn't exactly that order.
So sweet.
But
First time she came here, you're like, I love you, let's get married.
yeah.
What?
You were not leaving.
But very quickly found out that 90 days you get when someone comes over in a, just a visa, like a tourist visa, not enough.
Not
So,
enough, absolutely.
I-
when did you guys first say I love you?
Man, that would have been, honestly, it was probably over the phone, or at least through Skype or something.
I imagine for you guys it would have had to have been. Because,
Yeah.
like you only, I imagine, saw each other in person so often.
Yeah, and we've been married, we just hit 6 years, and so,
amazing.
so that would have been 6.5 years ago. So, we were in a different place financially, so it wasn't like I could just easily fly over there or
Yeah.
fly her here. So that was tougher. But yeah, I mean, if it sounds like these two people are pretty close to, or they're going to be close to each other again.
Yeah.
I would say hold off and do it in person. just because like that's so much more impactful.
Yeah.
You know, you say it over the phone, it's kind of like, all right, you know, it's also easier to read someone when you're seeing face to face.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Also, especially if you're seeing them fairly soon. It's at January, so
Yeah,
that's like
yeah.
in the next 2 months or so. But especially with that moment of saying I love you, there's so much like connection that you experience in that moment.
yeah.
And like just getting to embrace each other and like have that bond when you're going through that big moment together, I think is really special. And if it's something that you feel comfortable holding off on, then like do that.
Yeah.
Meryl, how long did it take you to say I love you to?
Well, I'm actually thinking about it because I was going to ask you this question on like where and when you were, because my I love you story is pretty fucking funny. It was this past summer, and we were going on like a float trip with friends, and we both got hammered. It was like one of those things which they do here often in Texas. Like you rent a bus, the bus takes you to the river, you get trashed the whole time, you come back, you sleep on the bus, so you don't have to worry about like driving or anything. So we were like floating down the river, and I love the water. And I'm like in and out. Anytime I go into the river, I'm like in and out of my tube, floating around and whatnot. And she had told her friends, like when I was like floating away by myself, she was like, oh man, like I love her. And then one of her friends was like, are you gonna tell her? She's like, oh, never, like not anytime soon. And so I came back and I got back into my tube and I was looking at her, and I just like, I felt like I could read her mind. And I just looked at her and I was like, oh, I love you too. And she was just like, oh, you said it. And I was like, no. I was like, you said it in your head.
So it was a competition at that point?
No, it was
Got
more
you.
so like, I just like, it was the thing that you're like, you both felt it at the same time. And it was such an unconventional way to tell each other, like we're wasted on a river. But
The most romantic.
But at the
place.
same
you got
time,
a
it
tattoo.
was,
And that's how I met your mother.
yeah. But at the same time, it was like the perfect thing because it wasn't like we timed it, or it wasn't like we, you know, it just felt right in the moment. And it wasn't like, that's why we always argue that, because she's always like, oh, well, you said it first. No. I was like, no, I said I love you too because I knew you were thinking it.
The two is very
The
important.
two,
Yeah.
the two is important. Yeah.
What about you and Dan?
So we're engaged, so it's fine. I pretty much.
I like how you had
That's a
to
good preface. Yeah.
Story
Like,
with
okay,
that.
you know.
I do that because I pretty much Han Solo'd him a little bit because
Nice.
this is good for this person also just generally like sometimes people aren't ready.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
was one of them. Here's the thing. I knew I loved him. I am just a very emotionally guarded person. And I was definitely, I think we'd been together for like 6 months at the time. Maybe a little bit longer, maybe like 8 months. And we were just like hanging out at my apartment. It was one of those things, I think we were like sitting on our couch. And we had been talking and just like laughing and hanging out. And he like turned to me and said like, you know, I love you. And I was like, thank you for saying that.
Oh, no.
I froze.
Nice.
I totally froze. It was, and I felt like instant, like my heart just shrivel up and be like, you're a monster. I knew it. I was like, I am a monster. I'm terrible. I deserve to melt into the earth.
Oh, no.
But the thing was, at the time, I knew I loved him. I just was not prepared to say it. There was just whatever my hangups were. I was not equipped.
It's a big moment.
But it had, and he was very gracious because you know him. He's an extremely wonderful person, and it's why I love him. He was just like, you don't have to say anything. Like he knew I was panicking.
Is there
He
anything
said that
more?
through tears.
Through tears.
Like, oh no, you
How
don't
could you
say.
do
Like,
this?
pack my bag.
Yeah, he was like, I'll leave. I'll see myself out.
Yeah.
No, he was like, you don't have to say anything. Like very sweet about it. And I was like, okay, I'm a monster.
It's like the most Dan.
Yeah, it's very Dan.
ever.
And I think like, yeah, I knew. Like that's the funny thing too. Like, and not that this would happen for them, but for anyone who's watching or listening, like, I think it's important to know that it takes a lot of courage and vulnerability to tell someone that you love them.
Yeah.
It's probably the most vulnerable thing you can do. And if the person on the other side of that isn't immediately reciprocal, it also doesn't necessarily mean they don't feel the same way. Like everybody comes to that.
Or that they're like getting there.
Right. They could be in process of that. Like it's people move at different paces and they process things differently.
Yeah.
If you're a monster like me, you take longer. But because he was patient and understanding, like he could tell. Like to your point, like he saw it, I'm sure, in my eyes that I was like deer in headlights because I was realizing it when he said it. I was like, oh shit, I do love him and I'm not ready to say this. And he was patient with me, and then I absolutely told him I loved him, and we've been together for 5.5 years.
And now you're engaged.
And now we're engaged. So it worked out. But I had to caveat, I'm like, I'm the monster. Like, he was very sweet.
For this question, I kind of also, like, I think about that too, of just like, if the moment feels right,
Yeah.
why wait?
It's not. Yeah, don't make it like a checkbox.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we did the I love you thing.
Yeah.
Done with that.
Yeah.
Move
And
on
if-
to the next thing.
and
Now we
to-
move in. It's like,
Exactly. To your point, if
Now you move here.
Well, if you're lesbians, yes.
yeah, well,
if you can't wait, don't. I think to Jack's point, like, it sounds like you're at least, this isn't a prolonged separation. Like,
Yeah.
if you're going to be able to be together
Yeah.
again soon, like, yeah, if you can wait and it's something you want to do and you would like appreciate seeing them in person, like, just wait and have that moment in person. But also, if you're like, I cannot wait, I need to tell them, then tell them however you feel comfortable. You could like call them on the phone. You can do whatever. If there's like an inside joke or something you have, like, send them mail. I don't know, like
Yeah.
a letter. I mean, it's up to you. But like, I do think it is important to like think about too, you never know like what time you have or what might change or things like that. So it is like, I think if it's something you really, really, really want to do and you don't want to wait, like, no one's going to judge you for saying it over the phone.
I don't know. It seems like, like 2 months. If you're younger, 2 months is an eternity. Now,
Yeah.
like, I could sleep through 2 months at this point. It's like that will pass by
Blink
very
and it's
quickly.
2 months is gone.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So true. I think, Trevor and I said it, I want to say like a month into dating. It was in Sydney when we were there for RTX Sydney.
There we go.
Yep.
That thing, you were just like checking your nails, like, yep, that sounds right. Sounds
Yep,
good.
I was there. I wasn't.
Well,
I was
Yeah.
like, were
I
you
was
there?
watching.
She had
I was in the hat
binoculars
rack,
out.
Yeah. Hiding behind
my
the box.
tracker that I put on Barbara.
Yeah, Barbara's tracker.
we were in a bathtub.
Yep, I remember.
I was going to say, you were there?
Don't you remember?
She had a snorkel. She
Yeah.
was,
You were in a bathtub, and I was the person who brought you room service. Okay.
Oh, that
Just
was
didn't
you.
recognize me because I have a great disguise.
Okay. Okay, girl. Should we do one more? Should we save it for the post show?
I have a question for Hannah in the post show.
Uh-oh.
Okay, let's do this last one.
I'm scared.
We'll do this last question, then we'll.
I'm scared. What is
we'll ask Hannah her question in the post show. All right. This one comes from Mary. Mary writes, "Hi, always open. Hello.
Hello.
I've been in a relationship for 9 years and have 2 kids with my partner, male, and I'm female." Oh, so
Partner's male.
So
Partner's.
she's Mary's woman.
"We are not legally married. He feels that a marriage certificate is just a piece of paper, and he doesn't feel that we need to legally be married to have a family and love each other. I agree with him, but I still feel like we should get legally married so we can make life easier. In our state, we aren't allowed to be each other's medical proxies because we aren't married or related in some way. This is a big problem for me because all my blood relatives are in different states and none of us are close. He is the only person I would trust making big decisions like that for me, but he can't. It really bothers me. We've had some pretty epic arguments on this, and he stands by not wanting to sign. My question is, should I keep pushing the issue or should I just let it go? Thank you, guys."
Whoa.
So
That's a deep.
That's a tough one.
I'm
tough
thinking
question.
Yeah.
secret family.
Maybe, right?
They've been together 9 years and have 2 kids together.
Yeah.
That's common law at that point, right?
Yeah,
Like,
it's definitely
Yeah,
common law.
depending on where you are, what the most places it's fairly loose. Like in Texas, isn't it like you just say, "This is my wife," and they're like, "Sounds
I think
good."
you just have to
Yeah.
call them your wife.
If you
or
live
like,
to, yeah, I
That's
think
it.
if
So
mean,
you've been together
technically
like
Bethany
3
and I
or
are
5 years. Or
yeah,
something.
you live together for a certain amount of time and call them your wife, and people validate that you call them your wife and they're your wife.
That seems
Yeah.
super shady to me. Like, I know
Yeah.
for a long time there were some people like, oh, I'm not going to get married until like homosexuals can get married. And it's like, oh, now they can. Shit.
Where's the
It's
excuse
like,
now?
yeah.
Yeah.
But I think now there's no excuse. You've been with someone that long. Like, do you see an out that you're going to go somewhere else? Or if you're not happy in that relationship, how do you not
It's also like
put
I
a
don't
ring
know.
on it?
I don't know what hill he's dying on in this situation. Where
Yeah,
it's like
that was gonna be my question.
Like especially if it's just to sign the piece of paper so that this whole like medical
Yeah.
issue could
Especially
be.
with
Yeah.
kids. I mean, I
That's-
imagine that
Yeah.
gets
Yeah.
complicated. Like,
Absolutely.
Like I get maybe if you don't want the like title of wife and husband
Sure.
and like going through the whole like marriage process, but you've been together this long, and if you're in a state where you need to be married or related or something to have this kind of
medical safety net.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
100%.
like I understand why she's kind of frustrated.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it sounds like she's asking for this signature more as a medical document than as a marriage license or certificate.
Yeah.
And so I think my question would be when she's talked, like, it sounds like she's clearly said they've had arguments, like big fights over this. Like, what his justification is against, is it just like a cost benefit issue of like my moral reservations about the construct of marriage and it being like that's the way you validate a relationship is through a piece of paper? That's more important than us having the security of knowing we can take care of each other's like medical and potentially our children's medical concerns.
You can get a civil union too, which technically isn't a marriage but has all the legal rights of a marriage.
Is that every state?
I don't know. I want to say it is, but that seems super sketchy to me that this person is like putting a flag down like, no, I'm not going to let it happen.
Yeah.
It just seems like at this point, a lot of that is it's semantics about just a sort of ephemeral social construct. Like it really doesn't matter. You don't, to your point, you don't have to call each other husband and wife if that worries you. You don't even have to tell people you have a marriage certificate that you did that if it is something that bothers you because you don't want to participate in the construct of marriage. But like if what she's asking for is just, I want to make sure that myself, you, and our children have all the means necessary to get someone to look after us health-wise, I don't know what argument you can give someone that would override that, especially if you've been in a committed relationship for 9 years. Like, that person should understand the importance to you. I think, like...
It's like she clearly understands that you don't have to be married to love each other and have a family.
Right.
That,
She's
you guys have done that.
She's prepared to do that. It doesn't sound like she's like, I want to be married and I want a wedding and I want like this whole... She's like, I'm in, I've bought in, I'm doing the 9 years with kids. Like, it is not about the marriage. It is purely about medical requirements.
I mean, even that is like being married, you get tax benefits, especially with kids.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't understand the point of not being married.
It seems like maybe
again,
there's something...
secret family is what I'm coming back to.
There might be something deeper going on. Like maybe he's just constantly worried that like he'll want out at some point. And if you're married, there's a lot more paperwork and legalities involved. But also like you got kids together.
Yeah, I feel like
I say if you want
you're
out,
married, at least it's cleaner cut. Like like I have a friend who broke up with his girlfriend and they like own a house together and all this stuff, and he's like, if we were married it would have been easier to just like split things, but because we're not, like we have to go through all these like weird loopholes and stuff. So I mean, I can't imagine any, like, unless maybe he has some kind of trauma with like divorce or something that's keeping him, but like you don't need a wedding, you don't just
on the
do
paper.
it to make her happy, man.
I don't think she should have to give up that, because it's not just like, oh, it's something important to me on like a moral grounds because I want this paper signed. It's like she has a very practical, pragmatic, necessary reason for it. So if that's something, and like marriage is about compromise, like even if it's not a formal marriage, like any kind of relationship you're in is about compromise if it's going to work. So like there is a degree of this that he should be able to compromise on to make sure that you're all protected and taken care of.
I would say keep pushing the issue. And maybe it's just an issue of like understanding where you're coming from to him, and like maybe he just doesn't quite like, because you wrote it pretty well to us. Yeah, we understand.
We get it.
We all
just show up this question.
We'll marry you. Shit.
Yeah.
I'll sign those papers.
One of us is ordained, right? We could marry them.
Oh, I'm ordained.
She is.
There you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that it's clearly very important to you on a deeper level. It's not just like names and titles and stuff like that.
You've shown you're committed. You've both clearly shown you're committed. So this is just a formality for health reasons.
Yes.
Health and monetary.
Health and monetary for taxes too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for your questions, guys. If you want to write us, you could email us, alwaysopen@roosterteeth.com. Send us your box of issues questions or anything else for the show. And remember, if you sign up for first membership, you could watch this show completely ad-free on our website a day early. So please do that. It's a great way to support Rooster Teeth and everything that we make here. We would really appreciate it.
There's tons of other content.
Tons of other content. Stuff that Jack's in even, that you could watch.
Even Jack.
Haunter is coming out, season 2, January.
Yes.
Haunter.
Achievement Hunter the musical. Lots of behind the scenes stuff on the site only, I think, maybe.
Yes.
Heck yes.
So please do that. It's a great way to support us, and we'd really appreciate it. And thank you so much for watching. Jack, thanks for joining us.
Oh, that was the end of the episode. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
As always.
Easiest thing you've ever done.
That was super
everyone.
easy.
Cheers. Oh, there we got it.
There we go.
Bye, guys. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching that episode of Always Open. Don't forget to give it a like if you enjoyed it. It's a little thumbs up button, and ring that bell so you get notified of other videos we put up on our channel. I would love you forever. Thank you, and good night.